Sam, you don't have to get dressed up for us.
Well,
It's whatever you feel comfortable.
good afternoon, everybody. We ended up having a good class, and I want to thank our assistant coaches. To put together the class that we just did, the credit goes solely to our assistant coaches, and they went out and built relationships in a short period of time, and I think that tells you a lot about who we have on our staff. We ended up signing 23 players, 15 of them on defense, 8 on offense. We went out with position of needs. We thought those 5 positions were quarterback, tight end, and basically the defense, D-line, linebackers, and cornerbacks. And when I say needs, I'm not talking about talent. I'm talking about numbers. And on our board, our numbers were low from what we considered low on the defensive side of the board and at tight end and quarterback. And so we went out there and tried to address those needs. We signed 4 kids from Arkansas, 4 from Georgia, 3 from Tennessee, 3 from Texas, 2 from Oklahoma, 2 from Louisiana, 2 from Florida, 1 from Connecticut, 1 from Illinois, and 1 from Missouri. I think the thing I like most about this group is that they want to be a part of Arkansas. Now you're going to say, well, we know that. They signed with Arkansas. But by 7:47 this morning, we had all 23 scholarships signed. And I know some of those, not all 23, the remaining. We had guys that were in here before, obviously, at midterm. But the remaining scholarships that we had, the kids who signed today had them signed at 7:47. And I think that shows you that they want to be here. They're excited about being here. We signed 20 high school kids and 3 grad transfers. Again, all the 3 grad transfers were definitely a need basis, and so we went out and got those guys. Again, I'm really proud to be at the University of Arkansas. I have a great assistant coaching staff that knows how to recruit, and very fortunate to have them. With that said, I'll answer anything you won't have.
Raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you. Coach, you got a few big commitments today also. You may have known about them, but they went level today. Malik Hornsby, Jalen St. John, and Marcus Henderson. Can you talk about those?
Well, obviously, offensive line is a big deal for us here, and big offensive linemen is what we're looking for, guys with good feet, and it wasn't a and/or if they were going to sign with us or not, but it was still fun watching them, with their commitment stuff, even though we had the paper in hand. And then with Malik, he was the guy that we wanted. He's the guy that we went after. He had a great relationship with Coach Briles, and Kendall did a great job of recruiting him and has for a long time. But there's a guy that can throw it and run it, and certainly would be ideal for the type of offense that Kendall's planning on running.
Sam, you signed 3 offensive linemen overall. Could you maybe say something about each one of those guys? Obviously, I know you're the head coach now, but that's obviously your wheelhouse, and that's been a kind of a struggle since you left that position. How do you feel about the offensive line overall right now?
Well, they're all 3 big. They're massive guys. So that was, it's defenses in our league. They have big people over there, and so we wanted to go size to begin with. And, of course, we got Ray Curry Jr., time, in the early signing date, a guy that is a very good athlete, that we think we can develop him. He's probably a little more physically, he's a little stronger than your typical average high school lineman. We'll work with his technique and those things, but I know he'll work hard, and we're happy to have him. And then Marcus Henderson, very talented guy. He took his body from, I don't know, first time I saw him, he might have been 335, 340, and now he's down around 290. He needed to do that. He played a lot better this year, his senior year, doing that, and we're awful glad we ended up getting him. And then we had Jalen St. John, who is probably the biggest of that group, and he just got a mature way about him. He'll come in here and work, and I think he'll be a really good player for us. I don't know how fast they'll play or anything of that nature. We need to learn more about our own team first on that, but we're really excited we have those three guys because they fit all the criteria criteria that we're looking for.
And the line as a whole,
Well, I know this right now. They're as hard a working group as we have in the weight room, and we're very proud of the way they're handling their business right now. But we haven't hit anybody and haven't had to strike moving targets yet and all that kind of stuff. So we'll figure it out. But I couldn't be more pleased with the O-line that we have because of their work ethic.
Coach, you guys have added some players from the transfer market. I assume you're going to continue to explore those options and possibly in the high school ranks as well moving forward. If you guys were to go to sign some more and go over, do you have any spots that you can count back, or is that, I know sometimes that's difficult transitioning staff to staff.
We could sign a total of 25 this year, and so we have 2 scholarships left at this point. And I believe the rule is you can sign them back, or you can sign them to this year's class as long as it's before April 1st. I believe that's the rule. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the rule.
Sam, on Traylon Smith and Luke Jones, they were on the team last year. Are they on scholarship now, or what's the situation there?
I don't know if they're on scholarship or not. I know that I know Jones isn't. I know that he's not, but I'd have to look on Smith to find out if he is or not.
Those 2 scholarships, is there an area or two that you might be looking for help at certain positions? I mean,
well, that's hard to say. I mean, at this point, if you're looking at, we'd obviously like to have another tight end on the team. We'd take a wide receiver. We'd take a running back, but we're not going to take a guy just because we can move up in a recruiting ranking. It's going to be somebody can come help us, especially if it's an older guy. We wouldn't take a guy that we didn't think come in here and contribute fast.
Speaking of that, Sam, how many realistically do you see that could hit the field this year? How many would you like to see start playing? What's your take on that?
I love the question, but that's a guess, and I wouldn't have any idea about that answer. Obviously, the guys we have in the grad transfer, we're going to put a lot of pressure on them, expectation on them to help us.
Coach, you talked about these guys love Arkansas, but the statement that this total class makes to the buy-in and what you're trying to do here to the rest of the college football world.
Well, we're the University of Arkansas, and we'd like to done a lot. We'd like to do better than what we did. We expected to do every bit of what we did, and we expected to do better, to be honest with you. there's 11 guys in that room going out and recruiting that believe everything that I believe about Arkansas. So I don't know about the statement, but we've said it ever since we've had a job here, that this is the greatest university, and we believe that, and we're going out and, you know, it's more important for them to believe it, but we're going to do better. This one we just didn't quite have as much time as we wanted, but we'll do better.
Coach, I asked you about this in the early period, but I always like to hear any interesting tales from the road, any interesting dinners, weird things like that, flights getting delayed.
Well, you know, we're at a, no, never mind, I don't have, never mind. I'd be embarrassing to my guys, you know, but it's always interesting out there, you know. It's really a lot of fun, you know, but we might have missed a high school or two, you know. So other than that, we came back and found it, but we probably missed it the first time or two around, and police officer got us on the right, you know, on the right track to where we're supposed to go. Thank the good Lord. But no, not really. I don't want to embarrass anybody, but it's a good question.
Just how's Felipe Franks fit in so far, and also what's KJ Jefferson's health status for spring ball?
KJ will be fine for spring ball, and Felipe's done really well. He's moving well. I think he's on progress. He might be a little bit ahead of progress, but we don't feel there'll be any problem with him playing in spring.
Depth of linebackers been an issue the last couple of years, but it looks like you guys went out and addressed that. How good does it feel to have addressed that?
You know, we sit down. I sit down and watch, you know, every player that we're trying to recruit, and the guys rank them. And I tell you, I was really, really excited when I got to sit down with Coach Odom and talk about the guys on the board. And Ryan Rhodes proved that you don't have to have experience at D1 level to be a elite recruiter. And he went out there and we really addressed that linebacker and that D-line positions. And you're right, we needed some numbers and some players at that position a little bit more, and Coach Rhodes addressed that early, and our defensive board, I think we had 13 guys, 14 guys committed early, and so I think that, you know, guys want to come in and play for Coach Odom and those guys.
Coach, you had to do your first recruiting class with a very small amount of time. Just what was it like? Was it frustrating for you? And what do you feel like is the future of the early signing period? Do you feel like they might do away with it?
Well, it wasn't frustrating. I just got the head coaching job at Arkansas. I was ecstatic, you know, but it was frustrating whenever we only signed, you know, 6 or 7 guys. I can't remember, 6, 7, maybe I wrote it down. But we had 7 that first go-around. The early signing date, I said it before, I think if you're a new coach, it's tough on you. You have 4 days, 5 days to sign a class, and all depends a little bit on what happened, you know, how what happened to the coach before you. You know, if he gets non-retained quite a while from then you lose the guys that were committed to you, and then if he gets, you know, if it's a bam situation, you might can hold on to guys a little bit easier. But the early signing period is hard on a new coach, and I think there was 3 or 4 of us in the SEC that were in that same boat. So, but, you know, again, when I said it, when we went to Georgia, there wasn't that early signing period, and it certainly helped Coach Smart when he was, I'm not speaking for him, but I imagine it helped him, you know, because there wasn't that early signing period.
Sam, you signed players, you know, the whole class from 10 different states, including that Arkansas hotbed of Connecticut. What does that say? Obviously, you got to go outside Arkansas to get enough players for the SEC. And how'd you get a guy from Connecticut? I remember Arkansas had a walk-on snapper from Connecticut. I don't remember a signee from there.
Well, you know, Sam Carter knew him, you know, was the first thing about it. And then there's a lot of other schools got involved with him after he committed to Arkansas. But, you know, we have a private plane. We can get to all over the place, you know, and just like every other school in the SEC. And the bottom line is we have a lot of coaches from different areas. They know a lot of people. And we found out who we liked and tried to get a relationship with them. But, you know, I'll be honest, I didn't know that, you know, we'd had 10 different states and all that kind of stuff. You know, we was going so fast that we were just trying to get people that we liked, that liked us. And Kyrie's obviously the one you're talking about in Connecticut, and we were really excited to get him, and he's fast. And so I imagine it'll be, you know, I think we're a regional, I told you before, I think we're a regional recruiting university. And I think every year that'll be the case. But this year might have been somewhat a little bit different because we didn't have enough, well, you know, a lot of the players were gone already before we really could get involved, and then we didn't have the whole year to make the relationships. I'm not making an excuse for where we finished. I'm not. I'm just telling you that I think we're probably a little more regional based in the future.
Coach, you used to be February was a big month for junior day visits and all that stuff. You guys were able to squeeze one in last week, but the calendar's changed. February 29th up until February 29th is a dead period. Do you like that new structure? And also, last time we spoke, you had mentioned you were trying to get some approval on spring football, the date for that. Has that come about, and do you have a date?
Your first question, well, let's go to spring ball. Spring ball will start on March 16th, and we will go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then we'll go to spring break, and then we'll come back after spring break and have 4 weeks of spring ball going Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And then to answer your question about February dead period, needed it. As long as everybody's on the same rules, you know, our coaches haven't been off forever, you know, and during the season you're every day. And February, if you could get a Saturday off in February as a coach and find out who your wife is and you remember your kids' names, I mean, that'd be awesome. And as long as everybody's doing the same thing, I thought the dead period in February, I think it's a very good rule that the NCAA passed.
You mentioned defensive back as a position of need. Just your impression overall of the guys that you signed?
I think we signed speed. You know, I think we went out and signed some fast people, you know, with some size. So I really impressed with Coach Carter and Coach Odom to go out and be able to get a Kyrie, you know, and a Slusher. You know, we had Miles early, and Nick Turner is a guy. He's one of the first guys I was able to go visit, but they all, you know, Kyrie doesn't have quite the size. He's got the speed. And the other two guys got really good size and really good speed. So, you know, Miles has been here, and man, what a super guy, super kid, work ethic. And to be honest with you, he's really the one of the first, you know, highly recruited guys that said, "I believe in you." So I won't forget that. He got to earn his spot, but I like him because of that.
Darren Turner, when we talked to him in recruiting, Sam was talking about safety or receiver. I see he's listed receiver on the deal. Is that pretty much what he's going to play?
Yeah, that's he was our guy that we feel like he's a wide receiver, and maybe I don't know, maybe the previous staff talked to him about either or, but we haven't. He's a wide receiver. He's got great ball skills, and And Coach Stepp's a good receiver coach. He'll get him more polished in his routes and all that, but he has really good ball skills, so got good size.
Tied in last night. Can you discuss him a little bit? And then that only gives you 3 on scholarship, whether you go get another one or not, or do you make any position changes with this class or anybody on the team already?
Well, Colin Sutherland was a kid we knew about. Obviously, I knew about it at Georgia, but his brother I recruited here for, I don't know, a couple of years, and so I knew the family. You know, I knew the young Colin, but I didn't know this guy. You know, the guy that's rocked up. You know, he was just a kid whenever I was here the first time recruiting, but you know, he's very physical. Runs good routes. You know, we liked him, obviously, or we wouldn't have took him here even though it was late. Is there a possibility we might move some guys? I don't know. You can't. We think the number at tight end should be 5, and we have 3. So something's got to give there. So we either need to get another guy in there in the recruiting because we have a couple scholarships left, or certainly we'll have to explore the opportunity, maybe moving some guys.
Yeah, Sam, the returning quarterbacks were pretty young and inexperienced. How important was it to add a couple guys to that room, and especially add a guy who's got starting experience in the SEC and as you know, won a lot of games at Florida?
Very. It's a big deal. I mean, Felipe Franks has proven he can do it in this league and do it at a high level, and it was a huge deal for us. I'm not saying he's going to win a starting spot, but it's a big deal to get him, and it'll allow some of these younger guys, KJ and John, all of them, to compete and give a little bit more time to get game ready. Sir? Yeah, that'd put us at 5. Oh, I'm sorry.
How good was it adding him?
I'm sorry.
How good was it adding him to?
Oh, Malik?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all excited about that. You know, a guy that can stretch the field with his arm, and I think he ran 10.7 in 100 meters. That's not quite as fast as Coach Odom ran when he was in high school, seriously, but that's fast.
When you look at adding a college transfer, sometimes it's easy because you review the film, but with Draper, didn't have a lot of playing time at Oklahoma. So what was the evaluation process like for him, and what kind of led you to offer him?
Well, we wanted him. Well, first of all, we knew what kind of kid he was. You know, we knew he was a great kid, and we knew he could run. And I mean, we tried to recruit him at Georgia when I was there, so I got to know him and the family. And you know, sometimes it's, sometimes you just have to believe that the high school kid that you were recruiting, or what happened over there at his college. I don't know. We saw enough tape on him playing at Oklahoma that we felt like he could come in here and help us.
You mentioned wanting to do better with your class. When you get a full year, where do you foresee, whether it's the rankings or whatever, where do you foresee in the future where you want this recruiting class to look like, or what do you want it to look like?
Well, I mean, we're the University of Arkansas. I mean, we should be up there with the elite programs in the country in recruiting, and I don't know what we are right now, but we're not up there with the elite guys, and until we get up there, well then, when we do that, we'll come in here, we'll be really happy. But again, I think you have to surround yourself with people that believe that you're at the best program in the country, and I do, and our staff does. And until we get up there with the elite in the recruiting thing, then we have work to do.
Any more questions for Coach Pittman?
Well, I'm waiting for Sam to say good question. My feelings are kind of hurt. Sam, I don't think we've talked to you since you completed your staff. How do you feel about that? And I guess you stayed with pretty close to the budget Hunter gave you.
I did stay close to the budget that he gave me. And the first part, did you ask? Did I?
How do you feel about the staff you were able to, build and track?
Love them. I mean, I think I said it before, but we got basically whoever we offered. That's called recruiting too. And those feel good, just like getting a recruit. But we're about done now. We're about through with our staff, but a lot of people to hire. There's a lot of people in the building, and but be hard for me to believe that I could be happier with our football staff. It'd be hard for me to believe that.
Has there been a date yet and place for the spring game, whether it's here or Little Rock, and when it's going to be?
Well, obviously it's scheduled at Little Rock, and I don't know exactly where that's at right now because we don't know if the NCAA will let us have it over there. If they will, then that's where we're going to play it, and if they won't, then we'll play it back here at home. But we're still waiting on that right now, and that we want to play our game on the 25th of April.
What reports do you have from winter conditioning and just kind of the state of the program right now?
Yeah, Jamil came in, or Coach Walker came in and talked to us the other day about each individual guy along with the position groups, and I tell you, we hit the jackpot with Coach Walker. He's and his staff. I mean, he's not the only one down there. But we've seen them work out, great energy. We're getting bigger. We're getting stronger. Right now, we're a little more concerned about getting some bulk on our guys, some confidence through the weight room than we are necessarily about as much getting them in shape for spring ball. I think we're going to buy another week in the weight room for size and strength before we head to the conditioning. Now, we're running every day and all those, I mean, not every day, but we're running each week. But usually it's a 4-4 week, 8 of the 8-week period, and we're going to go 5 and 3 this year. We're going to try to get a little bit more size to us and a little bit more confidence.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate you.